Look at this for a start, everybody. A beautiful baby elephant. Welcome, everybody, to our afternoon live sunset safari. My name is Byron, and on camera this afternoon is David. We have my colleague James and Brian on the other vehicle, the ladies Kirsten and Chelsea in the FC this afternoon. They are going to be sending us your questions. Don't forget, we're on a live safari. It's great to have you with us. We are situated in the Djuma Game Reserve, which is in the Greater Kruger National Park. Please don't forget to send us your questions via Twitter at #SafariLive or email us on questions@WildEarth.com. Beautiful herd of elephant at the moment. It's a wonderful, wonderful winter's afternoon. It's about 24 degrees Celsius or 75 degrees Fahrenheit. So a really, really warm afternoon. And we've headed out, and the first thing we bumped into was this herd of elephant, not far from the camp. And they've been standing here for about 20 minutes, completely relaxed, happily feeding, and this young elephant has been entertaining us, learning to use its trunk, it looks like. It keeps trying to pick off the leaves off that very sharp acacia tree, the thorn tree that it is standing in front of. We had a really wonderful morning with a lot of activity. We had a leopard with cubs, we had lions on a buffalo kill, we had cheetah, elephant, everything was happening. It was all going well for us this morning. A lot of luck. James had most of the luck, but we did get to see the female leopard with the two cubs, which was great because it was the first time I had seen them. Excuse me, this is such a great start. I just love elephants. I love spending time with them. And to get them so relaxed and feeding and walking around us, it's just incredible. Hope you're all having a wonderful day wherever you are around the world. Or if you have just started your day, I hope it is a great one. And hopefully you get to join us and send us questions and spend some time with us on our safari. And just a reminder, this is live. That's right. Everything we are seeing, you are seeing as we see it. Oh, look at this young one playing in front of us. Busy throwing the branch and twisting it around its trunk. Really is great to see these young elephant playing and learn. That is really great. It takes them about 2 years before they really learn how to use their trunks properly. At least 2 years, 2 to 3 years. There are thousands of muscles within that trunk, and it is an incredible tool that the elephant have. They break trees, they break branches, they use it to suck up water and pour it into their mouth so that they can drink. It has a lot of uses. There's a big female just behind that little one. I'm assuming that that is the matriarch. You can hear her breaking those branches. So Ashley has asked us a question regarding the dry season that we are having at the moment. We have had a very dry year in southern Africa, not as much rainfall as we usually get, and Ashley would like to know what measures are taken to try and control the drought or control the animal populations because of the drought. And she would like to know, are there restrictions on water holes, or is there culling? Ashley, at the moment, no, there's no culling. We try not to cull animals unless it is really, really necessary, especially within the greater Kruger. There is a natural balance at the moment. So these habitats basically control themselves, the animal populations and so on. And it has been going for a very long time. That is why, these areas, Kruger Park, for example, has been going since the early 1900s. Early 1900s, late 1800s. So it's been going for a very long time. In those early years, there was hunting, though, but that very soon stopped, and the animals flourished within their natural habitat. At the moment, though, there are certain water holes throughout the game reserve that people that manage the land, manage the areas, do pump water from boreholes into certain areas to make sure that there is water around for animals. But some of the rivers, most of the rivers actually still have water in them, and they will hopefully still carry some water through the dry season. But as we move into July, August, it will get a lot drier. So I do think we have a bit of a drought heading our way, but animals adapt to the surroundings and the conditions that they are in. They will still manage to find water. So I think they should be okay. But as I said, there are water holes that do pump water to them for the animals. As long as there's food around, they should be okay. But drought is inevitable. It's nature's way, I think, of balancing things out. And for us out here, we have to view and appreciate nature. Sometimes it is hard, and you do see animals struggling in drought, but it's natural selection. And that is one of the things about being out here, is that we try not to interfere. Even though there are water holes that we pump water to, that is needed at times, but generally people try not to interfere. True conservationists try not to interfere. So we're going to sit with this elephant for a bit longer. We don't really have a choice. They're in the road at the moment. But while we do that, let's cross over to James and let him welcome you to our afternoon drive.
Good afternoon, everybody, and a very warm welcome to the afternoon drive. I was trying to think of the date, but I can't for the life of me think of it. Brian? 29th of June. Wonderful to have you with us on this Wednesday afternoon. It is a beautiful afternoon. It is 24 degrees Celsius, 76 degrees Fahrenheit. Brian is on camera. He's got a T-shirt on, no jacket, and a beautiful thumb. What is the thumb today?
Existential dread thumb.
An existential dread thumb. How wonderful for a Wednesday afternoon. In the final control, you've probably heard, we have Kirsten McLennan-Smith, helped by Chelsea Byrne. But we're not alone, sitting where we are here. Oh no. Look over there. Just coming down the main trunk of that tree, you might be able to see a little leopard. Isn't that cool? We've just driven up here. We stopped the car because Brian said they were around here somewhere today, looked to the left, and there they were. Now, in theory, we can't be viewing these cubs. We can't kind of follow them if Mum isn't here. They're both in this tree, by the way. I can see them both. One in the fork, the one you're looking at, and then that's the one that, yeah. So you got both. I don't know where Mum is. I suspect she's off hunting still. She may have killed something. She also seems to like a bit of downtime away from them now and again. Anyway, what we can do, I'm not going to drive off-road for them because Mum isn't here. There's nothing wrong with us stopping on the road, though, and we are on the road, so we're just going to ease forward and have a look at them. They're both obviously very comfortable up in the tree there. Mum might be nearby, you know. I haven't seen her. And I am again interested by the fact that these cubbies seem to be not that keen on each other. They don't spend any time actually playing like lion cubs might. You've got the shot there, Brian. Yep. And so the lion cubs that we've seen so often play with each other, and leopard cubs do. I don't have a vast experience of leopard cubs, but I have seen sufficient in my time to know that they do sometimes play with each other. But these chaps don't do a great deal of playing. They seem to be, the play behaviour that happens seems to happen with their mum. And I think that's quite interesting. That's Charlotte we're looking at, with the brown eyes. And somebody said to me yesterday that they thought she also had a wow across the front of her forehead like her mum. I don't see that myself, but I can sort of see the W. She's such a cute little thing, that. And this tree is something called an albizia, or false thorn tree. Very, very seldom do they get anything like the size over here, because the elephants normally mangle them to pieces. And you can see it's almost an evergreen, but not quite. All right, we're going to sit here for a little while. I don't think these cubs are going anywhere. Let's head across to Byron and a very sweet little baby pachyderm.
Geez, James has been so lucky today. We saw Karula this morning. I told him where to go and have a look. We did lose her through walking through a block. Look at this elephant lying down. Look at this baby right there. Oh my word, that is amazing. It's fantastic. What a start. James with the leopard and the cubs. We've got this incredible elephant sighting. This elephant lying down. It is amazing. Look at that. And this female is so close to us. Really, really incredible. But look at that little calf lying down. Trying to get some images. Maybe put it up on Twitter for everybody later. Instagram and Facebook for all the Safari Live viewers to see. Those who might be missing the show right now. That little one is so cute. Very, very cute. This is an incredible sighting. Just shows you don't often get to see them lying down, but they will rest. Looks like it's sleeping, but it's just resting. It's just lying down, resting a little bit. The female is right next to it, so it's feeling very, very safe and secure. And we've been sitting here quietly for a while, so we're not disturbing them. I haven't moved the vehicle at all. I've just sat quietly. David and I have just sat here. The female's actually moved closer to us. That calf has felt completely comfortable to lie down. This is an incredible sighting, so special that they feel comfortable enough to do this. Looks like that female is also resting a little bit. Just standing quietly, standing very still. Deborah, armchair traveller, would like to know if the play behavior still continues without the vehicles here, or does it occur more when the vehicles are here? I think definitely when the vehicles aren't around, they probably feel a little bit more comfortable, and you might get more play behavior from the younger elephant. But this behavior that we are seeing at the moment is completely natural. We're not influencing them at all. And I say that because for an elephant to go and lie down and feel so comfortable definitely means that they are not worried about us at all. And it's completely natural behavior. Occasionally you might get younger elephant that become curious with the vehicles. They'll come and sniff around and look at us. But this behavior that we are seeing now, not necessarily being playful, but just resting is wonderful. See how this female is flapping her ears. Now, that is not an aggressive sign at all. She's purely flapping her ears to cool her body down. So within the ears, and if you look very closely, you might be able to see it. There are a lot of veins. Do you see that? A lot of veins running through the ears. And the ears are very thin. So what happens is, while she's flapping her ears, she cools the blood down, which runs through those veins in the ears. It takes about 9 to 11 minutes for the blood to circulate from those ears through the body. And by her cooling down the blood slightly, it cools down the temperature. There she just sprayed some sand on herself too. That's often done also to cool themselves down or to get rid of some insects that might be sitting on their backs or around them. But that flapping the ears is to cool the blood in the ears down, and that slowly brings the temperature down, not by much, but it does make them, or does help them cool down a little bit in the heat. In summer, you'll see them standing flapping those ears constantly because it is much, much warmer. It's a beautiful temperature now. It's not too hot, but it is a lovely warm day. Kim would like to ask, why are the young elephant so wrinkly? So all elephants have wrinkles through the skin, and I've unfortunately never touched an elephant before, but I understand that there's a lot of moisture which is held within the folds of the skin. And obviously these younger elephants still have a lot of growing to do, so the skin grows quite quickly so that they may grow up to that adult size. But all elephants have wrinkles in the skin. You can see the nails very clearly there too on that young one. Those little toenails, look at that. Very, very interesting. So they've got toenails, but the bottom of the feet are very soft pads, very thick padding. Could you hear that? I don't know if you heard that. The female just gave a very low frequency call, and that, I think, was to communicate to the youngster, right, you've rested enough, you need to get up now, perhaps we're going to start moving. But as soon as she did that, the youngster got up. Very interesting. So while these elephants are breaking branches and pushing trees over, James has got the leopard cubs up in a tree.
I do hope that the elephants don't come and push this tree over, especially not while George and Charlotte, our young royalty, are lurking in its boughs. Now, we moved very slightly, and Charlotte was not in the least bit scandalized, and so we'll just sit here for a little while and enjoy them. I don't think they're going to do a great deal, given the fact that their mother is not around, but that's okay. They're leopard cubs, so they're allowed to be flat cat, as it were, far more entertaining than watching a lion, say, reclining in the shade. What would you say, Brian?
Mm-hmm.
Much less messy.
And much less smelly.
And far less smelly. And I imagine they'll get bored eventually and they'll start moving around. Don't you think it's interesting that they don't play around with each other? I think that's quite interesting. I'd love to know what you thought about that. Remember, you can talk to us, #SafariLive, questions at wildearth.tv. Send us your impressions. Oh, George is coming. I see George moving towards us. Just a sort of flash of spots in the dappled shade. You see him moving there, Brian? While we wait and see if Georgie doesn't come down to his sister, I just wanted to address something that we heard about this morning, and Judy H, as always, sent me some wonderful information about something called embryonic diapause. And embryonic diapause is the process by which animals delay the implantation of an embryo in the uterus, possibly due to environmental conditions. Now, we've had many discussions over the last little while about whether or not impala can delay the birth of their offspring. And it's something that we get asked about a lot, and it's something that I just wanted to clear up. Impala cannot delay the birth of their offspring. Once the fetus is implanted, and once it grows up, and once it is, come to term at 7 months, it cannot then be held inside the uterus for a further 2 or 3 months until the rains come. It's just simply not biologically possible. At the same time, there's this incredible thing that I didn't know about, that Judy H. sent me some information on today, called embryonic diapause. And there are a number of animals, the marsupials being a notable example, that are able to create the zygote. The zygote is basically the 4-celled new organism once fertilizations has taken place, and then it becomes an embryo, and it stops at that stage and does not implant in the endometrial wall of the uterus. Then it can be delayed. So that embryo can be held before it's implanted, and it will not develop any further. I guess it's a little bit like, to be a little bit crude, it's a little bit like keeping an in vitro embryo. And so that was fascinating. Thank you, Judy H., for that. But impala, as far as I'm aware, are unable to do that. They do not predict the environmental conditions that are going to persist when they come to term. And what's given rise to this great legend, of course, that impala are able to do this, is the fact that there is a second impala breeding season, and that is in February. And so I think a lot of people have misinterpreted that. Anyway, those young February babies and the November babies better watch out when George and Charlotte get to November. They will then be, what will they be, Brian? Hang on, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 months old. They'll be just about the size that when they're able to take a baby impala. And if February comes around and they're okay, they'll be a year old. They'll definitely be big enough to take a newborn impala. And Brian and I were just saying, sort of, not semi-facetiously, but in jest, what do you think would happen if we walked to the bottom of the tree and kind of tried to pluck one of them out? And we found it amusing to consider what would happen if, Brian had Charlotte on his lap and I had George on the dashboard. When Karula came knocking about the corner, how she'd react if we were tickling them. And the point of that discussion, of course, is that it's entirely hypothetical, but you would never get that close to these cubs. They are wild. They look very cute. They look very sweet. They look like if you gave them a cuddle, they'd purr on you. They would not. They've got sharp little teeth, vicious little claws, unbelievable strength for the size that they are, and they are wild. So were they to feel threatened, you would know all about it. And on that basis, Brian and I decided that we would not climb up into the tree and fetch the cubs. And many viewers, thank you very much, all of you, for your comments, saying that you also think it's a bit odd that they don't play together. I don't, like I say, I don't have a massive experience of, male and female cubs born to the same female, or, born to one mother and their interactions with each other. But I suspect what it is the fact that they are not social cats, of course. Leopards are not social, and as soon as they hit puberty, they will go off on their own, and they will not want to be around each other. And quite unlike lion cubs, which are social, they are social from the beginning. They play with each other, they growl, they sort of jump all over each other, and those lessons of coordination and play and hunting are meted out, or are played out amongst the siblings. With the leopards, it doesn't seem to be like that. It seems to be much more that they play with their mother. And Trump is a buffoon. You have my vote for the best Twitter handle there is at the moment. Trump is a buffoon. Thank you very much for that. You say that I think it'll affect their hunting. I don't, because their hunting is largely instinctual, and I also think they'll play with their mother. you know, they'll stalk her and they'll jump on her and bite her tail and chase her, but seemingly for some reason not each other. And it'll be interesting to see how that plays out. Maybe they'll start playing with each other. I mean, Charlotte is now looking for George. Now, Betty, not crazy in the slightest, and the answer to your question is we don't know. You say, could it be possible, well, first of all, you preface it with, this might sound crazy, but could it be possible that these leopards have got different fathers? And Betty, we don't know for sure if it is possible. We know that in a number of species it is possible where different litter mates can have different fathers. We don't know if that happens with leopards. We do know that they mate with more than one male per estrus cycle. We don't know if Karula mated with more than just Tingana during the course of her estrus cycle. But Betty, we're hoping that some of that, you know, we've collected a whole lot of dung from many, many leopards around the Sabi Sands, and that's all being analysed for DNA. And we're hoping very much to find out precisely that, if leopards can have multi-paternity. And I mean, really, I know that I've done it myself, but we've all kind of looked at leopards and said, oh, well, you know, he looks like so-and-so. So-and-so must be his father. I don't, unfortunately, believe that we're able to accurately do that. And so I think only the DNA will tell us. Like when I look at Sindile, for example, I see him, I see his eyes, and I think maybe he's the offspring of Mvula, but I just don't know. All right, let's go across to Byron. He's got a pig to show you.
Yes, that's right. I do have a pig, a warthog. Looks like a small family. There are a few more off to the left that are just hiding behind a thicket, but we can see that one clearly. Look at those big tusks. There come the others. Look like a big female. They did look like a male with them. And then some younger warthogs, some pig, well, I wouldn't say piglets, just young sub-adults that are with that female. The sounder of warthog. That's there we go. Really beautiful, beautiful antelope there in Nyala. Another one is following it. It should come through there shortly. There we go. So we have the warthog, the Inyala, and these are all males. It's interesting to see so many Inyala males together, but they look a little younger. I suppose they are adults. I think they've still got 1 or 2 years to grow before they really become dominant males. It's possibly why they are together. And then we also have some kudu in the area. I'm trying to see if the kudu stick their heads out. The kudu and impala. So there's a lot going on here. It's wonderful. Warthog,
How do you like?
kudu, impala, a lot of different antelope species. Obviously just a nice area for them to be feeding in the afternoon. I'm going to move forward a little bit for us quickly. There's another Nyala. Hang on, we'll get through the gap here. There it goes. Beautiful antelope. Pal has asked us, do warthogs have a leader in the group? Well, a group of warthogs is usually just the family. So it'll most likely be either the mother or the large male that is with the family, if there is a male there. Generally, with warthog, it will be the female with the piglets in a group, and the males are solitary until they meet up with a group of females. There we go, there's the impala we spoke about, just behind the Inyala, and there's a lot going on through there. But so with the warthog, it's the mother that will lead the youngsters, the piglets, and then the males are generally by themselves until they're looking to mate with the females. Then they'll meet up with the group. They may spend some time with the group at times, but generally it is the female that controls the group of warthog, because they are family. I just want to see if I can find you one of those kudu quickly. There we go, through there, there's the kudu. It's a young male kudu. Interesting to see him by himself, but one of the other reasons why you might get so many different antelope species together is for safety. They'll be able to keep a lookout for any potential predators, and they will warn each other if there is any danger. So it's not unusual to find these antelope in the same area. And also, both the Inyala and the kudu are strict browsers, which means they only feed off leaves of trees. There's a female kudu walking through there. So they only feed off leaves of trees. The impala are mixed feeders. They will graze, which means they eat grass, or they browse, which obviously means they eat leaves. It depends on the time of year, and it depends what food is available. So that's probably why all these antelope are in the same area. There must be good browsing for them at the moment around here. Lovely to see so many different animals. All right, we are going to make our way across towards Cheetah Plains in the east. And while I do that, let's cross back to James and see what those leopard cubs are up to.
We did move very slightly, everybody, but the leopards didn't move at all. Little Charlotte fast asleep. Oh, here comes George. You see George there, Brian? He's now searching at us with his little blue eyes. Hello, boy. Oh, he's so tired, poor little George. He's so tired. Excuse me, I can't help myself when I see these things. Especially given them wonderful names I've given them, don't you think? I sense that the viewers are semi-tolerant of the names I've given these cubs. Some think they're quite good. Some undoubtedly think that they're utterly ridiculous and should go immediately. And to those I say, don't worry, they will go. They will not be known as George and Charlotte for long. Now, as the other vehicles get mobile, everybody, we're going to have to move out of here, simply because we can't actually establish a proper sighting here because Mum isn't around. Once they're about 6 months old, we'll view them on their own, without Mum. But I'm prepared to view them here. You can see we're having absolutely no effect on them whatsoever. They're fast asleep, and they're next to the road, and we're not bashing around next to them. And there aren't other vehicles coming in and out, so I'm prepared to view them here. But we obviously come out earlier than everyone else does, and so we'll spend a little bit of time with them, and I think everyone's going to start getting mobile in about 10 minutes or so, and then we're just going to move out of here and carry on and see if we can find Karula, perhaps heading back to fetch them so that she might feed them again on something. And as I say that, people are starting to get mobile. Kevin, you want to know how far Mum will travel? Well, you know, she's travelled. Last time she left them, and it wasn't to go hunting. Where were they left? They were left somewhere around, yes, I remember exactly now. They were left somewhere around Treehouse Dam, which is about 300 meters to the south of us. So about 900 feet or so, maybe 1,000 feet. And she then went all the way north into Buffelshoek, which is probably a good, I don't know, 4 kilometers as the crow flies, so a round trip of about 8 k's, 5 miles. So that was quite a big one, and I think she went off and did a bit of hunting and a bit of territory marking, because her territory, of course, has been neglected while they've been very little. Now she's starting to range a bit further and further away, so that she doesn't have to, because they're able to climb trees and look after themselves a little bit better now. You can see that they're completely relaxed in the tree, totally safe up there. So she could range a long way from here. She could easily range onto Torchwood, kill there, and then come back and get them. Hello, Chitwa in India. Lovely to hear from you all the way from India. That really is lovely to hear from you, and I hope that you keep watching and keep talking to us. Chitra, you want to know what role the father plays, and I love this question, and it comes from all sorts of human cultures where we know that our dads play an enormous role in mentoring and looking after young human beings, and so we often ask about the role of mammal fathers in the lives of their youngsters. Unfortunately, Tingana, who we think is the father of both of these little chaps, is not going to have any further effect on their lives directly. Indirectly he will, though. He won't interact with them. If he does meet them, he'll probably be fairly offhand about it. I don't think he'll be very affectionate to them, but he won't harm them. But his indirect parenting effect is to protect the territory that he is in, and therefore that their mother is in, from other male leopards. Other male leopards, of course, are a major killer. Unrelated male leopards are a major killer of little cubs, and so that's what's going to happen. Okay, we're going to have to head out of here now because everyone's starting to get mobile, and we'll hopefully come back here following Karula shortly. Okay, wasn't that wonderful? They might just lift their heads as we pull out. Alrighty, let's get out of here. The radio is unbelievable how many people there are talking there. Okay, let's go and see. Now, Karula went wandering down here at some stage, and so she'll come probably, wherever she kills from, she'll take a direct route straight back towards here. Ooh, now, what we're going to do is go towards Buffelshoek Dam via the route that Karula went. I've just heard on the radio that there were tracks of baby lions in that area, so maybe we'll be very lucky there. Wouldn't that be nice? Lion cubs and leopard cubs in one drive? I think that'd be awesome. Hello, Earl in Tampa. I'll get back to you right now. Stations 2, WildEarth vehicles are mobile. One had a herd of elephants around Weird Taylor Dam. I went to check for Karula. She's not on site. Cubs are in a albizia tree, but Mum is not there, so I left. And yeah, we're driving Ingwe Alley. We'll go Twin Dams from here. So, Earl in Tampa, you're interested in how far we drive. Earl, we drive, it depends. So, the other day, for example, we had the cubs just next to camp. We probably drove less than a mile in the whole drive. And then this morning, I went off to Cheetah Plains like Byron's doing now, and he will probably drive, he'll probably drive a good, say, 20 kilometers or so, so roughly 12 miles, maybe a bit more than that, depending on what's at Cheetah Plains. So the more we see, the less we seem to drive, because obviously you stop and you look at the animals and we have a conversation about them. The less we see, the more we're looking for things, and therefore the longer it is that we're going to be driving along. So anywhere from 1 mile to, I'd say, about 15 or 16 on a very kind of lengthy drive. Now we must just keep an eye out on all these trees, keep an eye out under all the bushes for Karula, and while if she does kill, she will certainly come back to fetch the cubs. She does take time out. I've noticed that too. Oop, there goes my microphone. Hang on a second, I'm going to have to fix this. Brian, get the camera away from my bald spot. People will be blinded. Thank you, that is very kind of you. There are many cameramen who would very happily. Please excuse the scraping and scratching, everybody. I'm sure it sounds dreadful. Oh, very irritating. I'm so sorry. Okay, I think we're done. There we are. Right, there we are. Okay. Let's try and keep it taped in. I might have to tape it to my head. It's going to be very nice. The reason it's in my hat, everyone, and not on my lapel, is that now when I talk like this, my voice does not change in volume. Do you see? And when I put my scarf on, you don't hear ruffling and shaking. All you hear is it gently scraping against my balding head. It's a nice thought for the afternoon. It is yet another beautiful afternoon. It was a misty, eerie morning today, and it's cleared up into a wonderfully blue, clear afternoon. So we're going to head towards Buffelshoek Dam, and because it's been quite warm, maybe there'll be some elephants or some buffalo wandering down that way. Maybe the hippopotamus, and maybe some little lion cubs. That is a real hope, though. It's a shot in the dark. Hello, Len. You're in Canada. Nice to have you with us. What was that? Len, you say when is the best time to come on safari? Len, there isn't a best time. There are many very good times, and I always sort of split this answer into 4. The first one is to say that sort of the rainy season months, November, January, February, very hot, very green, verdant, beautiful landscape. You can get rained on, but it's lovely to have an African thunderstorm while you're out here. All the baby animals are around, so it's a really kind of verdant, life-filled time. March, April, May, as we go into kind of the autumn, well, it's still as green, there's less rain, it's not quite as hot, so that's quite nice. The little animals have grown up, of course, and so it's not quite as doesn't give you the same sort of spring feeling as it might otherwise. So that's that time. Then we get this time we're in now, June, July, August, and that's the kind of winter months when it's quite cold in the mornings, but not too bad at all, especially if you're from Canada. You'll think it's positively balmy most of the time. And viewing is good. The leaves are starting to fall off the trees, everything's starting to get very dry, and so the animals are concentrating around the water holes. It's not quite as dry as it's going to be, though, into the next months, the kind of spring months of September, at least August, September, October. That's a real dry season, and that the game viewing is spectacular because the leaves on the trees have all fallen off. So there's not a great deal of foliage around the place. The water is very concentrated, so big herds of animals head towards the water holes. And it can be a little bit harsh that time of the year if you're not used to it. So if you're used to kind of verdant, green, boreal forests of Canada in the summertime, and then I know it's very snowy there in the winter time, but if you're not used to the dry and the colors are grey and gold and a little bit of copper and red, and it can be harsh, but if you're used to it, it's just really beautiful. So those are the times of the year, and each one is nice. Each one's got its advantages and disadvantages, so really there's no best time of the year to come. Thank you for that, Len. Now we're going to go down into the great valley of the Mulwati drainage line. Raging torrent. Hopefully we'll get through. Do you think we will, Brian?
I hope so.
Whew.
It's going to be tough.
It's a tough one getting through the water, even in this car. Here we go, everybody. Hold on tight. You can see the vegetation getting thicker as we get closer to this vast, raging torrent. And if you listen carefully, can you hear it, Brian?
Okay.
The rushing of water. Oh, that's scary just to listen to. Yes, big rapids as we approach down here, everyone. Hold on tight. Put your weatherproofs on. Get your books into the weatherproof bag. We made it, Brian.
We made it.
Oh, thank goodness. Oh,
That was splendid.
it was so exhilarating.
What a rush.
What a rush. Ah. I'm not sure where that came from, and I apologize profusely. While Kirsten says we can link to Byron for an update while I lose my mind.
So it sounds like James is losing his mind. I think he's got a little bit of heat stroke, actually. He took us out for an afternoon run just before we went out and drive. And I was very silly and I went with him. It's always good to exercise out here, but running in this dry heat, I think all of us regretted it soon afterwards. So perhaps that's why James has lost it a little bit. So we're driving through Cheetah Plains at the moment. No luck just yet, but we are heading towards a waterhole. With it being a lovely warm afternoon, I'm hoping we get something that's come down to drink. We'll be there shortly, I think, because again, this is an area I'm not really familiar with. Oh, there's a bird calling that I'd love to show you. Let me just see. So, Tara, the last time we saw cheetah on the drive was this morning. James found some cheetah. He saw 2 big males, beautiful males, and we're heading towards that area to see if we can't find them this afternoon again. So stay tuned. Hopefully we do get them this afternoon. I'm hoping they haven't moved off too far. Trying to see. This bird is calling that I would love to show you. It is called a red-crested koran. And let me just see. They're very difficult to spot. They are ground birds. But let me just see. Okay. Now, there is. Let's just see if he calls again. So, let me show you a picture of what this bird looks like first. The red-crested koran. Let me find it quickly for you. Okay, so this is the bird we are looking for. This beautiful red-crested koran. That bird over there. It's got a very high-pitched whistle, but there's a little trick. Oh, was he going to call? No. So there's a little trick that I'd like to think it works. I've done it a few times with this bird. It's not always a guarantee, but occasionally it does work. So they've got a very distinct call. It starts with a clicking sound. Click, 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 click. And then they go off and they do this whistle. Something like that. And this bird then shoots up into the air, straight up, and it does this beautiful display. It stops flapping its wings, and it basically does a somersault. So it rolls back in the air wings open, and then it floats back down to the ground and uses its wings as a parachute and lands. It is amazing to see. Now, usually when they call and they whistle, they do it. There's a little trick that I've tried in the past. It's worked once or twice. Some guides have different theories on it, but the tapping on the vehicle, a little tap like this. So, that occasionally helps to get the birds curious. And I think it's because it sounds similar to that clicking sound that they do in the beginning of their call. It does help if it starts whistling so I know where it is. But we might be lucky and get this bird shooting out of the brush. Let me see. Let's try and knock once or twice. I'm not going to spend too much time here, but let's just see. Okay, there's a whistle. Okay, so just keep watching, keep watching. It's very close, it's very close. It's in the thicket. Okay, it's whistling back, it's whistling back. So we're getting a reaction out of it. Come on, if this works, I am going to be so impressed. There's another, come on. It's not whistling back now. Just wait. It is, I'm sure it's going to work. Come on. It's got to. I think that frame is perfect there, David, because if it shoots out, it might just go straight up. There's a whistle back again. My fingers are getting a little sore now. Giving it a bit of time. I don't really think it is mating season. It's usually the males that do it to attract a female. Okay, you see what he's done? He's come right out close to us. He's on the ground. Just moving through there. You got him? Yep. There we go. There he is. So he's come right out to investigate. Beautiful, but you see how well camouflaged they are. Beautiful red crested Koran. Wait, you're going to get a good glimpse. There we go. Look at that. Okay, come on. I don't think he's going to do it, but it's wonderful to see. I mean, he came and investigated a little bit, but it doesn't look like he wants to do a display for us, unfortunately. But he did whistle back. I hope you all heard that. Incredible sound. That whistle is a beautiful call. We'll try once more. Let's see if we get another whistle. He's not interested in doing it, but beautiful red crested Koran that came to see us. Unfortunately, just not interested in doing that full display for us, but he was whistling back. Definitely interested, but I think he saw myself and David and thought, nah, this is not worth displaying for. That is so cool. That is really cool. I'm glad I got to show you that bird, but it's amazing. As we drove past, I heard it, but obviously through this thicket. It's very, very difficult to see. So I'm glad he came out to investigate and see what the knocking was. But we just didn't get him shooting up into the air and doing that display for us. But you never know. He may still do it a little bit later. We're going to continue to the waterhole. David, I think, why don't you just keep fixed on this area? Because occasionally if you drive away, it does shoot up into the air. I've seen it happen a few times. Let's just see. No, I'm not interested in displaying for us today. But great to see him, and I'm glad he came and investigated to see what that sound was. But we're obviously just not pretty enough for him. Okay, we're about to get to this waterhole. Let's see what's here. Oh, what have we got there? A huge herd of buffalo. Fantastic. Oh, this is great. Very lucky this. Wow, this is a big herd. I can see buffalo extending all the way through the back, but they're right up ahead approaching this waterhole for a drink. So I think we're going to get a lot of activity here now. Oh, beautiful. I'm going to just stop up ahead a little bit so we're not looking into the sun, and we'll get a beautiful view of these buffalo drinking. Wow, some of them are right in the water. And look at that. Just as I thought, a lovely dry or warm, dry afternoon. And animals will come down to drink any time of the day, whenever they're thirsty. There's not a specific time. It doesn't mean only in the morning or only late afternoon. It could be any time. And our timing was just perfect today. We're just lucky with our timing. And this whole herd of buffalo came down to drink. Do you see they're going right into the water? This is great. See, look how far back it extends. Through the bushes off to the right, they're still coming. A herd of buffalo like this is predominantly females and young. There are dominant bulls within a herd, but there are a lot of females. Usually you get the males, the older males, splitting away from these herds. They don't like moving around as much. These herds can cover huge distances looking for food and water. The old males hang around in a certain area where there's food, there's water. They don't have to cover a large distance. But if a herd like this does come through and passes those big old bulls, then those bulls will definitely join the herd for a short period of time to see if there are any females that they may potentially mate with. Then those bulls move off again, and you might find one by himself or in small groups, whether it be 2, 3, 4, up to 8 or 10 sometimes, old bulls that stay together. Oh, there's such beautiful light now too, this afternoon sunlight. The water, beautiful for photography. So I can hear some lapwings, blacksmith lapwings and crowned lapwings in the back, and they're calling quite a lot at the moment. And the reason for that is because as these buffalo have walked through, they've obviously disturbed those lapwings. Those lapwings nest on the ground. I spoke about it the other day, but for those viewers who didn't hear it, I've seen these birds standing their ground with a buffalo or an elephant coming straight towards them, and they open their wings and they'll stand and scream at the buffalo and elephant and force them around where their nests are on the ground. It's incredible. I've seen one actually pick a buffalo's nose. The buffalo stood back and quickly moved around. It's incredible to see the birds react like that. So I heard them calling. They're potentially trying to keep buffalo away. They also go and they dive bomb them. They fly around and they try and move these big animals away from their nests or their chicks so that they don't hurt them or break their eggs for that matter. You hear the sound of these buffaloes swishing through the water, splashing about. It's the slashing of that water. A wonderful sound, wonderful sound. Liz has just said it's the dinner bell has been rung. Where are the lions? Yeah, imagine a pride of lions walk through here now. Could be very interesting. But I think in the warmth of the afternoon like we have at the moment, lions are possibly resting. I'm going to sit with these buffalo a little bit, see what they do, which direction they go. Let's go back to James and see what he is up to.
Everybody, we are eye level with a hippopotamus at Bivelshoek Dam. Oh, good grief. Now he's getting a little bit testy with us, but we're going to keep watching him. And we've parked here, we've gone down into the new part of the dam, which is lower down than the old part, so we're almost at eye level with him. This is a wonderful, wonderful opportunity to look at him. I was going to look at him from the top of the dam, and Brian said, no, let's go down closer. Now that is a warning. There's no question. He's saying to us, not that happy with you being there. If we sit and we're nice and quiet, I think he'll be okay. But I may have to reverse fairly smartly if he starts coming this way. Isn't he impressive? That's just the most amazing view of him. It's going to be quiet. Tobias, you should have a name that is Thomas rather than Tobias. You say, is this really live? Tobias, this is as live as it gets. This is the most real kind of TV you'll ever see in your life. And that hippopotamus is staring at us from about 50 meters away, 40 meters away. That's 140 feet odd. And I was just taking a photograph there. We're going to watch him quite carefully. That snorting is him saying that he's not happy, and many of you, of course, will know that hippopotamus have a reputation for being not particularly friendly. Now that's normally when you're on foot. In a vehicle they're normally okay, but he's definitely just being, they feel threatened. And they feel threatened because they so desperately have to be in water, and this is suboptimal territory for a fellow like this. He would rather be in some much more sort of open flowing water like a permanent river or something like that. And so they need this water. They don't want to be threatened away from the water. And as long as we sit there and just, don't go too close to him, he should be fine. Pallavi, you want to know what indications a hippo gives before it charges. Pallavi, it gives an indication by basically standing up. It'll come, take a few steps towards you, and then it'll just come. I don't think he's going to do that. It's not impossible that he could do that. We should be relatively okay here in the vehicle. It will be an unpleasant experience, no doubt, but we should be all right. I certainly wouldn't be here on foot. So he's showing his displeasure. Now what I'm going to do is not because I think he's going to come towards us. I think we're making him uncomfortable. And I'm just going to reverse the vehicle back up a little bit. We've had an amazing view from here. And I just don't want him to be upset and feel like he has to. Hello, Gracie, aged 8. I've forgotten about this little story that we had here. There we go. We'll just stop like that for a while. We might sneak down a little bit again and see if he will put up with us. So, just Gracie, before I answer your question, I must just tell everybody about Bob, because many people, of course, don't remember that around about this time last year, one hippopotamus arrived at this dam, and we called him Bob, the bachelor of Biffle's Hook. And he was alone, and he stayed there like that for many months. And then, one day, during the height of the dry season, another hippo arrived. We think it was a female, and Gracie called her Princess Daisy. And Princess Daisy disappeared. Now, Gracie, you want to know, do we think that Bob misses Princess Daisy? Yes, I think he probably does, you know, Gracie. Hippos are social animals. They like to be around each other. They don't like to be on their own too much. And he's a young bull, you see. And the only reason he's on his own is because he's young and he's not really big enough to fight for a proper territory down on the rivers. And those rivers, of course, are starting to stop to flow. So the hippos are having to come and live in water like this. It's not nearly deep enough for him. You see that? He can't even get under the water. You see now he's relaxed completely with us further down. All right, let's go back to the buffalo herd with Byron. We're going to head off around the other side of this waterhole, see if we can't find tracks of those lions and the cubs, and if not, we're going to wind our way slowly back towards where Karula's little cubbies were and see if we don't pick her up on the way back to fetch them. See you shortly.
So have a look at this, everyone. We're still with the buffalo, but I want to show you one of those lapwings. The blacksmith lapwing is on the ground and it is screaming viciously at a buffalo. We just need about 4 buffalo to move to see it. Jen B has just asked us a question about the lapwings and if they would have nests this time of year. So Jen B, I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to think now. I don't think so. You know, it is quite dry at the moment. There we go. You can see it. See that that lapwing shouting at that buffalo. It's not moving. Look at that. Listen to him. Can you hear that? So, not afraid of a buffalo at all. Standing, shouting, chasing. And see the wings open there? That buffalo is not moving. That lapwing is very upset. Look at that. That is so cool. It's always great if we speak about something that actually happens. Watch. He's probably going to try to pick that buffalo on the nose. Peck the buffalo, rather. There we go. Did you see that? That is so cool. Oh. So Lynn has asked us how far these buffalo herds can travel in a day. They can travel huge distances, a few kilometers in fact, Lynn, especially when it's dry and they're looking for water. So anywhere between 5-10 kilometers in a day, very easily. So getting back to the question about the nests, I've just read in my book quickly, just brushing up, they can breed year-round. I thought so, they can, but they do often nest during July through to October. So this is, we're almost that time of year, so, but like I say, they can nest year-round. So I'm almost certain that that little lapwing has got a nest around there, and that's why it won't move. It's trying to chase those buffalo away, which we got to see, which is incredible. There we go. It's calmed down a little bit. I'm trying to see if I can see a little nest on the ground. They literally, it's just a little shallow hole or dugout that it uses. Not very distinct at all and not easy to see. The eggs are very, very well camouflaged, but that was incredible. Wasn't it fantastic? Something so different. Smallest little animal that we can find around here. This little bird, this lapwing, chasing away a buffalo. Wasn't that great? Well, the buffalo have moved off. I think we are going to do the same. We're going to head towards the plains, and our luck has been really great this afternoon. James had a lot of luck this morning. Maybe it rubbed off a little bit on us. And we are going to look for cheetah. Love to see those cheetah again. Saw them the other day and James had them this morning. Perhaps we're lucky on the plains we might see some cheetah. While I make my way towards the plains, let's see what James is up to.
Right, we've moved away from the dam. And little Bob, who was very cross with us, but I think he's okay now, he'll be all right. And we're now going to go around and see if we can't pick up those lion tracks. And like I say, if we don't pick them up, we'll head back towards where Karula's cubbies were and see if she hasn't made her way back there. Probably don't want to hang around too long around here, just in case she does go back. She will probably go back before dark if she's killed. If she hasn't killed, she might spend the night away from them. I don't think that's impossible. She might spend the night trying to kill. It's so interesting, though. You know, you'll read in books that these cats are all nocturnal. You'll read that leopards are nocturnal. They don't hunt during the day. Karula hunts in the day all the time, especially since she's had these youngsters. It's almost like she doesn't want them to be alone at night, because obviously that's when they're most vulnerable, and so she hunts during the day, whacks something, or she whacks something early evening and then goes to fetch them in the night, so that they are they're not sort of alone from the beginning of the night, if you know what I mean. And that's quite interesting to me. I think they're getting old enough now, though, for her to be away from them for long enough for her to go and mark territory for the course of an evening. Now, this is where they said the tracks of the lions came. Keith, you want to know about when those little cubbies will be taken on the hunt together. Keith, normally about 8 months, but she doesn't hunt with them in teams. It's not like she they do a little bit of mentoring, but they don't do anything like the mentoring that cheetah do, for example. Cheetah mothers spend a great deal of time teaching their youngsters how to hunt. It's not the same with leopards. They do a little bit of mentoring, and in about 8 months they should be able to accompany her. They'll stay back probably when she kills. They don't kill as a team. But at 8 months, of course, they're starting to make their own kills. I mean, decent-sized kills. I mean, even those little things that we've been enjoying of late, I think certainly would have made their own kills of maybe the odd lizard or termite. And termite's a good first kill. It's looking... oh dear, my microphone's coming out again. It's dreadful. Dreadfully irritating. It makes me so cross. So cross, Brian. I don't know what to do with myself. Oh! Excuse me, everyone. This won't take long. Won't take but a second. There we are. We should be okay now. Marvellous. On we go. No further lion tracks around here. Bree, nice one from you. You say, did I figure out who the lions were this morning who had the buffalo? Bree, I didn't. I don't know who they were. I couldn't begin to tell you. I thought initially they must be the Styx Pride, but that was kind of, I was dissuaded of that notion by one of the Chitwa rangers who said, no, they must be the Talamati Pride. But I think that's a bit of a guess, because I don't think that he's ever seen the Talamati Pride. But he has seen the Styx Pride many times, so probably wasn't them either. So I don't know who they were. I think it's quite interesting. And also, I think that one was definitely going into estrus. For those of you who weren't watching this morning, we had the 3 lionesses on a buffalo kill with 2 Birmingham boys. And when one of them moved off, she was followed by one of the males. And she urinated and he did his little phlegm and grimace. I shall do it for you. Are you ready, Brian?
I'm ready. Need
More teeth.
There we go.
That's phlegm and grimace. Right. Oh, there's a diker, Brian. Now, there are 2 dikers running through there as fast as their little legs will carry them. As unattractive as that looks on screen to you right now, so a male lion is rendered unattractive by the phlegm and grimace. And the phlegm and grimace, of course, allows him to tell whether she's ready to mate or not, whether she is about to pop into whether she's coming into estrus. And they do that, of course, through pheromones. And it's quite interesting. When we were in the tent during the TV shows we did recently, we had a couple of skulls. And if you get a carnivore skull, and if you get quite the herbivore skulls as well, just behind the front teeth here, there are holes. There are 2 holes, and they open up into what's called the vemeronasal organ. Is it vemero or verimo? Vemeronasal organ, I think, vomeronasal organ, and that's the organ of Jacobson, and that interprets the pheromones. We don't have that anymore. We've got a vestigial one. We also don't have 2 little holes in the top of our palates that would allow us to interpret pheromones through our organ of Jacobson. I'm quite glad, though, aren't you, Brian? Can you imagine going to a nightclub and finding men walking around in the darkness going... It would be quite disconcerting, don't you think? I'm just struck by the image of people going through, walking into a singles bar going, "Hello, how are you? Very nice to see you." My name's James. Sorry. I better answer Michael's question before I lose my mind completely. Michael, you want to know if the Mapojos ever... Sorry. You want to know if the Mapojos, which were a coalition of male lions, ever had territory here on Djuma? As far as I know, they didn't. As far as I know, the Mapojos, which were replaced eventually by the Majinga lions, had territory sort of Londolozi to the west and possibly into Arethusa, but I don't think they came all the way up here, everyone. Now, let's just have a quick look at this tree over here. I've just figured out why this is pulling me so badly. Can you still hear me, Rowan? This tree is interesting to look at purely because it is Wium's favourite tree, and there we go. Wium's favourite tree is called a false marula tree. Now, Brian, how many trees do you see here?
I see at least 3.
At least 3. Now, I would say to you that I think that this is one tree that is very ancient. It's been growing out of this termite mound for a very long time, and I suspect even that that could be part of the same tree there, and that it's been broken by elephants so many times And it's just grown out of the ground from the rootstock, that the rootstock has now spread so far underneath this termite mound that it looks like that there are 3 trees here. And it'll be fascinating to do some genetic analysis on the trees and find out if they are in fact the same organism. Quite an impressive organism. It's called a false marula because it's supposed to look like a marula tree. I don't know that it does look particularly like a marula tree, but there you are. It has a wonderful Latin name. It's a Lania schweinfurtii. And if you're ever feeling depressed, or if you're ever feeling angry, say schweinfurtii a few times, and you'll feel better immediately. I wouldn't combine schweinfurtii with a phlegm and grimace, because people will take offense. Alrighty, on we go. Alright, let's go across to Byron. I think he's reached the place of death.
To the east. James, I think, is linking to me shortly. Give it 2 minutes, and then you should get an accurate update from him. He was the one who found them this afternoon. Look at this, everybody. Upside down vultures. The reflection of these vultures down at the water. These are hooded vultures. And they've all come down to drink, which is great. You don't often see vultures on the ground. Usually they're perched up in the tree, just like the vultures that we can see off in the distance. If you have a look, there we go. See, they are generally perched up in the trees like that. They prefer the dead trees. The reason for that is there aren't many branches around, so it's easier for these big birds with the large wingspans to land in the trees. Assume that these vultures are in the area because there was a lion kill around here, and James saw it this morning. The lions had killed a buffalo. Don't see any sign of them just yet. We are heading towards the plains to see if we can't find any cheetah. And we bumped into this interesting sighting with the vultures at the waterhole. And it's only the hooded vultures which are on the ground at the moment. The other vultures that were up in the tree are white-backed vultures and some hooded vultures. But these ones are only hooded vultures. This is really, really great. I can't remember the last time I saw vultures on the ground at a waterhole. Often they'll go down, and I mean, if there's a kill, they'll go down definitely to feed. But to go down and just sit at a waterhole and drink, you don't see that often. Again, this afternoon light is just amazing. It really, really is great. Just going to move forward slightly. Just hear a vehicle coming behind us. I don't want to get in the way. Okay, also coming to have a look what's going on the plains. But this is such a lovely, lovely sighting at the moment with all these birds at the waterhole. There are a few doves around, but just to see the vultures down there is incredible. And look at the reflection. It's just so beautiful. Really great for photography. Hardbeard has just commented on the fact that the vultures seem to be quite ugly. Not very attractive birds, but they do form a vital role in nature. And you're right, Hardbeard, they do. They are a crucial part of cleaning up carcasses and getting rid of dead and decaying meat once the other predators have moved off. So yes, they do play a very vital role in nature. Look at that. Oh. We'll take off. I just ran and took off there. Afternoon, everybody. Hello. All good. Some guests from the other lodges moving through the area. It's always nice to see so many vehicles full of guests, people coming on safari from all over the world. So peaceful out here at the moment. Sometimes it's just nice to sit and listen or just appreciate what's going on around you. We always try our best to describe it to our viewers, and it's not always that easy. I mean, the warm sun on your back, the beautiful light on the vultures, birds calling in the distance, the fresh air. There's no pollution out here at all. It's a little dry, or not a little, it is dry, so there's dust in the air, but it's still fresh air. Jenny would like to know, is the brown one a young one? Yes, it is. It is indeed a young vulture that hasn't quite got that reddish coloration on the face yet. It is a young hooded vulture. So we would call that an immature bird, or immature vulture. When you have birds and they haven't quite reached their adult plumage yet, they are known as immature. Occasionally people also use the word juvenile, but the correct term is immature. Look, that one's heading down to the water now, just below them. There we go. Oh, look up at the top quickly if we try. Oh, it's a little difficult. Sorry, David, I saw it a bit late there, but just keep watching those on top of the wall. Looked like the one was trying to mate with the other one. Let's keep an eye and see if they do it again. Trying to find an image of these hooded vultures for you and the other white-backed vultures, just to show you what they look like. Just have another vehicle driving past. Just greet these guests. Good afternoon, everybody. Hello, how are you doing? How's Mike? Good, thank you. So, our beard has just asked us a question about the vultures, and do any predators hunt the vultures? And if so, do they taste bad? I do not know of any predators that hunt vultures. And because they're scavengers, but they're large birds too. They're very large, so it's unlikely that you would get another bird of prey hunting them. Just like eagles and that, generally they don't hunt each other. And it's usually the falcons that will hunt other birds. And a big welcome to the Virginia Beach Technology Conference for Teachers. Great to have you with us again this afternoon. I'm not sure if it's the same group that we had yesterday, but it's always wonderful to have new viewers and people watching and seeing what we are doing. And welcome to our live afternoon safari. We've had a very interesting safari so far this afternoon. James has had a female leopard with cubs. We found a beautiful herd of elephant. We had a big herd of buffalo. We had a lot of different bird activity. It's been a great day for us so far. So hopefully our luck continues. And here we have some vultures that are drinking at a water hole. So a big warm welcome to you and thank you for joining us. So Becky has asked us, is there a pecking order with vultures? Yes, Becky, definitely there is. And what I'll do is I'll show you in the book just what birds and what vultures tend to feed first. So usually at a kill, you might find these sorry, give me a second. So the hooded vultures are vultures that tend to get to a carcass first. They're a little bit smaller than the other vulture species, and they'll try and feed as quickly as possible. Then, over here, if these other larger birds, like the white-backed vulture up over here, see that beautiful one, and those are the ones sitting in the trees to the back. We'll show you them again shortly. And then these lappet-faced vultures, which are the largest vultures we get around here, very, very big. If they come down to a kill, they feed first. They will chase all the other vultures away. Then usually the white-backed vultures will get a piece to feed on, and they'll try and get in amongst them. But the lappet-faced vultures, they walk in, they open their wings, and they really, they kind of take control of what's going on. And they chase all the other vultures away, and then whatever scraps are left, the other vultures will pick up on. So let's have a look at those white-backed vultures that are up in the tree at the moment. So Peggy has asked us, do the vultures attack each other? So Peggy, they wouldn't. They do attack each other in terms of chasing each other off of a kill if they are trying to scavenge. They can get quite vicious, and they do chase each other. But not attack each other in terms of that they would eat each other. Purely an aggressive behavior just to try and get the best piece of meat at a kill. So Anne has asked us, do vultures mate for life? No, and they do not. With vultures, males will mate with different females and vice versa, because you get many different vultures. So, well, the same species will mate with each other, obviously. There's no interbreeding between species, but a male will have a number of different females that he will mate with during his lifespan, because vultures come in from different areas. They don't always stay together in flocks. The vultures, whenever they find food, vultures from different areas will come through to feed on it. So from these really large birds sitting on the ground, James has another bird which is on the ground but not as big.
Hello everybody, especially the teachers of the Virginia Beach Technical Teachers Conference, if I've got that correct. Very good to have you with us. That there is a crested francolin, a very small bird, well not very small bird, it's about, say, 10 inches long. And it's just knocking about the place looking for things to eat. Now, I can hear another one, alarm calling up ahead, and we were in this area hoping to find a leopard. I'm just going to go around the corner and see if it isn't shouting at a leopard. Those birds will make a very obvious alarm call. You hear that? Bird getting very, very angry indeed. Just round the corner here. We'll keep an eye on the road for tracks. Keep a look out here for the spotted golden pelage of a leopard. Sounded a little bit further in here. Let's just turn off here and listen. You'll hear it going. don't see any tracks here. I don't hear any other birds' alarm calling. So we'll just drive a little bit along this road, see if we can pick anything up, otherwise we'll turn around and come back that way. Ah, hello Christy. You say, what is the temperature here? Well, it's midwinter, Christy. It's freezing cold. It's 22 degrees Celsius, 72 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm, of course, being completely facetious. It's a delicious temperature, and winter is wonderful here. 72 degrees in midwinter is not too bad. Okay, I don't see any tracks here, so we're going to turn around and go back the way. Let's see if we don't come up with something. And then I believe there are some elephants heading towards a waterhole not too far from here. And if they're still around, we'll head there. We're not too far from there. Hello, Eric. Nice to hear from you again. You say, how much training do we need to do this job? Eric, it really does depend on your experience and I guess your aptitude. To learn to take a game drive is not rocket science. I mean, you can probably learn it in about 12 weeks or so. You can teach somebody to take a passable game drive. To do what we do, I think, is a little bit more difficult because you know, you're not taking a game drive for 6 new people every 2 days, and so I think you do need a slightly deeper knowledge than you would for a standard issue safari guide. But so I'd say about a year's experience would be very useful for something like this. But the more experience that you have doing a job doing a job in the bush, the better it is, and the more easy you're going to find it to explain things to people. Because of course, if you've got thousands of people watching, the varied nature of the questions is such that, you know, you've got to have a pretty good idea of what's going on in the ecology of the area in order to be able to answer all the queries that people have. Thanks for that, Eric. Now, just to give you a little story, I don't know how long you've been watching us, I don't think very long. There was a leopard cub, or 2 leopard cubs and their mother around this area this morning, and I don't know if it was the same group watching us yesterday afternoon when we had those little leopard cubs. They haven't moved far from there, and this is a different group, okay, and we're hoping we might pick them up again sometime during the course of the afternoon. She's left the cubs to go off hunting. They're sitting in the top of a tree at the moment. We're not going to disturb them for now. We're just going to hope that the mum goes back there sometime soon to see about her babies. But just up ahead, we should have some elephants. Kirsty, are they still there? Kirsty is our director. She is in my ear, asking me all questions. Hello, Amy. A nice question from you and a sad answer to it. You want to know, do we see rhino on drive? We do sometimes see rhino, Amy. We don't film them, though, because of the scourge of poaching. We don't want to have any effect on that by perhaps indicating to potential poachers where rhinos may be. I don't think we'd necessarily have an effect, but if there is the smallest chance that we might have an effect, then we obviously don't want to do that. And so we don't show them on drive. We see them from time to time, but we don't show them. Sometimes it can result in some fairly amusing situations, like Brian was just reminiscing about. Brian's on camera, by the way. He was just reminiscing the other day. Well, I came round a corner like this. In fact, it was just down where we were now. Came round the corner, there was a rhino sitting in front of the road, and normally if you spot it, you just kind of pan the camera off gently. But because the rhino was right there, there was nothing we could do about it. And I went back to my childhood. You know, when a kid hides its face and it thinks you can't see it, so you say, you know, where's Max, for example, and Max will hide his face and think that you can't see him. Well, I did exactly that. What happened was the rhino was in front of the car, so I dived underneath the dashboard like that. I don't know why I did that. It was utterly ridiculous. Anyway, so that's the amusing side of the rhino story, which is in fact a very sad one. Rhino poaching in this area, not too bad at the moment. In fact, it's pretty good. It's much better than it was. All right, while we're going to these elephants, let's head across to Byron. He's got some wildebeest to show you.
So we're on the clearings now on Cheetah Plains, and we have got a few wildebeest out here. It's a really wonderful open area. So a lot of these, we refer to them as plains game. Zebra, wildebeest, impala, they like these open areas. Especially in the evenings, I'll come and sleep out here because it's easier to look for potential predators that might be wandering through. They can warn each other and get away much easier as opposed to being in a thicket. Now, it's just beautiful light. This afternoon light on these wildebeest. It's been great on all the animals, but with them spread out in the clearing, it's wonderful to see them. And this is the area that James had the cheetah in this morning. I've been scanning around, but no sign of them. I think they've possibly moved off. They were on our boundary with another reserve south of us, and I think perhaps they moved south. There's a waterhole a little bit closer on their side, and I think maybe those cheetah went and had a drink and found a spot to rest for the day. And these wildebeest seem very relaxed. Even though a cheetah is unlikely to hunt wildebeest, they would still alarm call and make a noise if they saw the cheetah. And that alarm call is a grunting gnu sound, and that's how they get the name gnu. In some parts of Africa, you'll hear people call them gnu. It's because of that nasal grunt that they give to warn each other that there might be potential danger around or that there is a predator around, and that's how they avoid them. But these wildebeest seem very relaxed. And as I said, even though they are probably a little bit too large for cheetah, but they will still alarm call because it is a predator. Just going to scan these clearings a little bit more. You never know, maybe the cheetah are lying in the shade somewhere. While I do that, James has got larger grey animals for you.
Here we are, everybody. The elephants, as promised, a cow. And young bull getting irritated by the impala that are also trying to have a drink. And there's a massive herd coming down now to drink as well. It's the second herd that's been here. There they come. This is wonderful. Now, Heather, it's a difficult question to answer. You've said how many elephants are there typically in a herd? Heather, the smallest herd that we have seen here is 4, and it was 3 at one stage. And then you'll get herds of sort of 10 or 12 is probably the most normal-sized herd. It's females, closely related females and their offspring. So the really big herds that you see are normally not, they're normally groups of herds, if you know what I mean. So a larger grouping of lots of different sort of family herds who may or may not be related. She's a stocky lady, isn't she, Brian? She might be described as dumpy, even. She won't be pleased to hear me say that. Yes. Look, they're talking to each other. This is wonderful. I don't know if you can hear that. They're going... They'll know each other, but they won't be very close. So it's like a real cheerful meeting, and you saw the little ones running up to say hello to the strangers, or their cousins perhaps, distant relatives. Beautiful. This is a fantastic sighting, everyone. This does not happen every day. This is just brilliant. The little ones. How wonderful is this? Hello, Jamie. You want to know how you tell the age of an elephant, Jamie? It's got... Look at them climbing on each other there, Brian. Jamie, it's largely through experience, you know. You can tell your basic rules, for example, like an elephant under a year old will be able to fit under its mother's belly. The tusks erupted around about 18 months to 2 years, so you can see them then. But that will be extremely variable. Size, of course, is a really good way of telling, because they'd never stop growing, elephants. and especially big bull elephants, you can tell almost entirely from their age, at least from their size. Now, Christy, you wanted to know, while things are settling down here, you want to know how big the area is that we're operating in. We operate on 3 different reserves. One is 2,000 hectares. One is 1,200 hectares, 3,000 acres. One is 850 hectares, which is about 2,000 acres. It's all very difficult doing all the conversions. And one's about 600 hectares, or 1,500 acres. So all in all, 6,500 acres is what we operate on. And then, Chrissy, you wanted to know how old an elephant can live to. They live to about 65 in this area, if they're very lucky. Probably closer to 60 normally. This is an incredible sighting, everybody. We don't have this every day. This is just wonderful. Elephants everywhere you look. And this, dare I say it, slightly dumpy cow is not that pleased with us, and you can tell by the way she's kind of shielding the rest of them from us, and by the way she looks at us with her ears open. Isn't that an amazing sound? This is just brilliant. And Lisa, you want to know how many babies an elephant can have in its life. Lisa, they can have, let's work it out. So they're fertile when they're about 9 years old, so let's call it 10 to make it easy. Let's say a cow lives until she's 60 years old, right? And so that gives her a breeding time of about 50 years. Say she's not fertile from about age 50, so that gives her a breeding time of about 40 years. And she'll have a calf roughly every 5 years or so. So about 8, maybe 8, if she was particularly successful, 8 calves. Yeah, this female is not that happy with us. The rest of them are paying absolutely no attention to us whatsoever. But she's not that cheerful. And the reason I say she's dumpy is that she's a little bit short, and she's got very short legs, very unusually short legs. There's a little baby suckling. And I'm very sorry, everybody at the conference, we have to say goodbye to you. Sorry about that, but we're going to stay right here. She's the matriarch of this first little herd, definitely. She's now leading them away. She's not young, she's old, she's probably... Look at that. She's told them to move, and off they go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Count them, everyone. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I don't know why they've suddenly moved off like that. Isn't that amazing? You may have heard the popping of elephant flatulence as they moved off. That is bizarre that they just suddenly decided it was time to head off. There are a whole lot more opposite there, Brian. They're also starting to move now. There is so much about these animals that we do not understand. I don't know why they've moved. I don't know why they would have chosen to move off. Who gave the command? Whether it was something from much, much further away. We know elephants can communicate over vast distances. I'm astounded. That was really odd. It was like it was, come guys, let's get away from here. Something's up. Something's dangerous. May have been us, I suppose. And maybe that one cow gave the warning because we were here, and she felt, because she's the matriarch, she didn't like the cut of our jib, as it were, and so she told everybody, this is not good, we're in danger here, we need to move. But certainly everybody listened to her completely. So that's the one herd that's gone off down the road there, we can't see them anymore, and this is the second herd that came up here. And they're coming back now, actually. They're coming back to have a drink. Brian, you see that cow there just behind where the old dam cam is? I think she's the matriarch of this herd. I think she's looking after them. It's fascinating. Anyway, here's a young bull. He's decided he's having a drink. He doesn't care. Look at that. Sharon, you're in Memphis and wondering about the shape of the elephant's back, and that cow that walked past, the matriarch, the dumpy one, certainly gave cause to ask a question like this. Why do they have that shape of spine? Is it totally normal? Does it confer some sort of advantage? It is totally normal. Hers was particularly pronounced, I think, because she's quite old. I also think she might be carrying another baby. No, she couldn't have been, actually, because she was suckling that one, so I don't think she was carrying another baby at all. But it is totally normal. I don't think it makes, they have it, I don't think it's an adaptation for anything in particular, no. But it is totally normal. You can see how that one sticks out, and I'm sure it's just a design that is mechanically effective for carrying around the weight that they have to. Obviously elephants weigh an enormous amount, 6 tons in the case of a very big bull, 4.5 tons for a big cow. And now suddenly peace reigns completely. It's just delightful. Beautiful. I'm not going to start the car because it'll disturb him. He's on his own. He'll become nervous. So, I mean, I know ideally we'd like to be the other side of him. Now, what's interesting here also is that the elephants have chosen to drink out of this pan. They don't normally. They're normally extremely reticent to drink out of here. But we haven't had a lot of buffalo activity here for a while. We haven't had a huge amount of... There hasn't been a hippo in here, of course. And when the hippo and the buffalo were in this pan during the height of our drought, it really was a fetid, disgusting sort of cesspool. And the elephants refused to drink out of it. They wouldn't. They'd come here, they'd throw a bit of the water over their skins during the heat, and then they'd go off and find some cleaner water. They didn't like it. Now they seem to be slightly less fussy about the whole thing. And all of those elephants have now disappeared completely. All right, we're going to go back to around about where those cubbies were and see if we can't see if Karula's back. While we do that, go back to Byron and have a look at his stripy ponies.
They are not ponies, James. They are zebra. And look at the golden light on them at the moment. And it's nice. As I was saying earlier, you get wildebeest and zebra often on these clearings. And that is what we call a dazzle of zebra. A group of zebra are known as a dazzle. It's really, really great to see them out in the open like that. They are beautiful. I love seeing zebra walking across a plain like this in the clearings. Just scanning around. This is the area that we had cheetah in this morning. Or James had cheetah, and it's very open. It's very difficult. You know, it could be anywhere, and there's a lot of other animals around here. Would have thought maybe they'd alert us to them, but let's just scan. We'll scan around. Even David's scanning for me, and we'll check and see. Hang on a second. Hang on. I'm using binoculars, so it's a bit easier for me. But I think I've spotted cheetah for us. Hold on, let me see if I can get us into a better position. David, off in that direction over there. It does look like it's south of our boundary. I hope my eyes aren't fooling me. But let me just have a look. I can't drive any closer. I can try drive. Just change our angle a little bit. Hold on. that would be fantastic. If we got some cheetah this afternoon, that would be incredible. Just give me a second. If it is a cheetah log, I'm sure Kirsten and Chelsea in the final control will give me a lot of stick for it. Let me just see from this angle. Hold on. Let me just check. It is a cheetah. Hold on, okay. It is a cheetah. It is a cheetah. David, hang on a second. I think maybe from up here, I might have a better view. It is tough because of the angle. Just hold on a second. Let me pass these trees. Hold on. A lot of bushes in the way. I'm just trying to find a nice gap for us. Oh. Hang on. Let me go back again. Sorry, everyone. It's not easy, but it's definitely cheetah. Hang on. Oh dear. I thought this angle would be a bit better to see them, but it's not at all. There's a lot of branches in that in front of them. Give me a second. I'm sure I'm going to show you cheetah. See, that vehicle, I think, has also spotted them. There it is. Okay. David, if you zoom in to bottom left of where that vehicle is, if you go about 2 meters to the left, a little bit more, keep going. There we go. And zoom in over there on the ground. That's all we got. Oh, can you all see it though? In the center of the screen. There's the cheetah. Right in the center. You can see it moving there. There we go. Sure, well, we got to see our cheetah. That's incredible. But, yeah, it's quite far south of the boundary. Unfortunately, we can't drive across there. I don't want to move too much. It looks like, and I'm almost certain, it's one of the males that James saw this afternoon. I saw movement of another one just off to the right. It's not easy, but you can definitely see a bit of movement there. Yeah, almost exactly in the center of the screen, just right of that tree. So both males still in that area. And still hanging around these clearings. These are beautiful clearings for... We're going to wait here and just see. Maybe these cheetah get up and move closer towards us. While we do that, James is still sitting with some elephant.
Look at this, everyone. It's that same young bull that was drinking. He's only standing now about maybe 5 meters from us. That's about 15 feet. And he's entertaining himself, I think. I think he's having a good time. And he's shaking his head a bit and he's thrown some dust upon himself. And it's just wonderful to have him here. Isn't he great? Lovely. Get out of your way. And shaking his head because he's not really sure if he wants to show us how big and tough he is. Isn't that cool? This is fantastic. Oh, wow. He's smelling. Look at his amazing nose. Look at that. Smelling. And he's close to us. And I think he's just bored. He's just simply bored stiff of having to walk around eating food all day. Now he's got an opportunity for a little bit of argy-bargy, a little bit of interaction. And we really do appreciate it. Just listen carefully next time he puts his foot down. Just how softly he puts it down. Look at him smelling there, reaching out for individual plants. He'll decide from the smell of them whether he thinks they're nice to eat or not. Did you hear that? Chuk, chuk. That's so cool. Just listen. This is just wonderful. Now, I'm just going to give you an idea while he plays with us here. Just over his back is where we left those cubs, about 300 meters from here, 1,000 feet. Exactly opposite to that, I can hear, well, first of all, we heard some baboons alarm calling. I can now hear impala alarm calling closer than the baboons were, and I wonder if that's not Karula making her way back in this direction. It's probably well worth our while to just hang about here for a while. You hear that, Brian? No, you wouldn't. You've got your cans on. He is too cool, this guy. Hello. He's got little booties, as Brian pointed out. Look. Gee whiz. Brian, 3 meters maybe? 2 meters? I think he's got a runny tummy. He's certainly been quite flatulent.
Looks like he does.
He does, yes. A bit of diarrhea. That is probably not, I'm sort of making light of it, but it's probably because he's eating plants he might not normally, and I suspect that's because, well, that would be because of the drought. Stunning. Ruth, I'm going to reverse a little bit, and then I'm going to get you to take a very deep breath in. I've lost my microphone. It's an absolute disaster. Ruth, you want to know what they smell like? Elephants, Ruth, smell only like elephants. That is completely unhelpful to you, of course. It's sort of, I'd normally describe it as sort of sweet leather. So if you imagine like a saddle, and if you've smelled a saddle before, or like some raw leather, and then mixed a little bit with the scent of honey. I think that's pretty much what it smells like. Brian, how would you describe it?
Very similar. Definitely something big and leathery.
Yes, big and leathery, and nothing else smells like an elephant except an elephant. It really is difficult to describe it. But think of it as a sort of flavored. Let's just enjoy him for a little bit longer. And just watch and see if the queen doesn't pop out. Kevin, you... Can you hear the baboons, everybody? Going... Oh. Kevin, I'll get back to you. You want to know what elephants use their nails for? Kevin, elephants, I don't know what they use them for. I don't think... You know, he won't maintain those nails. They'll fall off eventually. And you don't see big bulls with their nails like that. I can only think that they maybe are sort of vestigial parts of their evolution, that they perhaps used them to dig a bit with. You've seen how he was kicking bits of plant out there. That is so cool. So, Kevin, I don't know, maybe he uses them to dig. Or maybe they used to use them to dig, I don't know. Right, the sun has just about set. I just want to go and have one quick last look and see if those cubbies have been picked up by the mum. Otherwise, we'll just sort of drive around this area and see if she doesn't pitch up at some stage. What a wonderful elephant sighting that was, so cool. I don't know, I get the feeling so often that with elephants there is... I hate the use of the term intelligence because it's so kind of what do I want to say? It's limiting. When we refer to intelligence, we basically refer to Western IQ as what we consider as intelligence, and I think it's insulting to say animals are either intelligent or unintelligent because it's based on our sort of impressions of what's clever and what isn't. But I think elephants' intelligence mirrors our own in many respects, and that's why we feel this incredible connection with them. And there was one hesitates to say it, but there was a communication going on there between us and that elephant bull, and I don't know what it meant. It certainly meant a great deal to Brian and I in terms of the fact that we just enjoyed it, but I don't know what it meant to him. We can guess, but it was just you don't have that with other animals. You know, buffalo just sort of stare at you a bit and then they go and then they run off, or they just stand there or lie down and chew their cud. And while they might be having an interaction with you, they're not nearly as expressive, for example, as the elephants are. And likewise the cats. They'll sit up and they'll look at you. Tell vaguely what's going on. All right, let's go across to Byron. My signal's a bit dodgy on the cubs.
So, unfortunately, those cheetah just moved a little bit further south. Not too far, but we couldn't see them anymore. So, unfortunately, we had to move out of the area. But at least we got to see them. Really, really great to see the cheetah. But I've got another surprise for you. Hang on a second. So we were talking about all these vultures that we saw earlier. And the reason for that is there were lions that had a kill. And I think one of the lionesses has popped out. Yes, there she is. I'm going to move into a position for us so that you can see them. I'll see her. Looks like she's by herself at the moment. Don't see anyone. Another lion here. I'm not sure where the carcass is. Oh, but yeah, she is. Right straight in front of us. Hang on a second. Yeah, I see the carcass. Hold on. Hi, everybody. Can you see there? There we go. Look at that. Beautiful lioness. How lucky are we? Just looking around to see where this carcass is. I think the buffalo carcass, yeah, it is a buffalo that they've killed, and it's under the tree. Move my head out the way. There we go. So they're very, very clever, these lions. What she's done is she's dragged it under the tree to keep it out of reach of the vultures. She doesn't want to share her kill with vultures. And apparently this morning James had more lions around here. And there you can see the vultures in the trees waiting, just waiting for a potential chance to get some food. They will not come down in the evening, and they don't feed at night. Vultures will wait there till tomorrow and until this lioness has moved off, and then she will come back, or the vultures will come down and feed. But while the lions are here, generally they don't, because the lions will get up and chase the vultures. I've seen that a few times. Not too sure where the other lions are. They've moved off. But nice to see this beautiful lioness here. You can see the full belly. She's had a lot to eat. So it's really, really great for these lions to have a good meal. I'm not too sure which lions or which pride these lions belong to. Always wonderful to see them. I understand James wasn't too sure either, so that's okay. As long as we're both not sure. If one of us knows, then it's a problem. Still trying to recover from that run that we had earlier. Wonder how James is feeling. You can see the flies around the ears and on the back of this lioness. And we had a question this morning about, or one of the viewers asked if it was mosquitoes. It's not mosquitoes, it's flies. It's just different species of flies. And they sit on most animals, especially the predators. You can imagine they don't smell particularly good. There you can see some of the flies around. Because these predators, even though they do clean and groom themselves, there's still a lot of carrion. They've got a carrion smell, especially when they are on buffalo kills and they're feeding, they get a bit of blood on them, and that does tend to stink after a while. And that attracts the flies. So they'll do whatever they can to try and get those flies away. They'll go and roll in the sand, or they'll try and lie in the thickets. Hopefully the flies don't bother them as much, but you'll see every now and then she flicks her ears because the flies are bothering her a little bit. It's not so bad in winter. Summer it's a little bit worse. So Cecilia has asked, what is it about lions that makes them so much more smelly than other big cats? I don't think it's a case of them being more smelly than the others. You can get a pungent smell from all these animals, Cecilia. So I think just the fact that, especially now with them being close to a kill, that smell, and with them feeding and the blood and all of that on them, then that smell is a little bit stronger. But once they've groomed themselves and they've moved off and they've drunk some water, that smell isn't as bad. But they do still have they're not going to be clean, they are still slightly dirty, and they do have a slightly pungent smell, stronger smell. You can smell it with antelope and all the animals. You can smell if buffalo have moved through an area, you can smell if elephant have moved through an area. The predators, our sense of smell is not very good. So we might not pick up on it as much as other animals will. So antelope or different species of maybe buffalo or elephant, they'll pick up on the smell of predators very, very easily because their sense of smell is so much better than ours. We have had a great afternoon. Elephant and buffalo, cheetah, lions, zebra, wildebeest. James had leopard with cubs. He had a hippo. More elephant. It's all been happening. The last 2 days have been amazing. I really hope you all know it's not always like this. At times it can be quiet on safari, where you don't see a lot of wildlife, but you do still enjoy being out in the bush. Wonderful smells and sounds, and it's just so peaceful. It's not to say if you don't see a lion that you are having a bad game drive. That's not the case at all. There's always something going on around you. From little mongoose little insects, butterflies, birds. There's so much to look at and view. And also just appreciate. We really have to appreciate everything in nature. This lioness is obviously fed very well during the course of the day, or probably earlier this morning. I'm sure she would have fed at some point during the day again, but she seems very, very full. Not interested in feeding anymore. It doesn't look like it. Well, not for now, but I'm sure this evening she'll definitely get up and start feeding again. And who knows, the other lions that were around possibly come back and join her and finish this buffalo carcass. Lions and all predators will feed on their carcass until it's finished. They don't want to waste anything. And they also never know when their next kill is going to happen, so they'll get as much food as possible from a kill. They'll eat until they can't eat anymore, hang around, and then feed again later until that carcass is finished. We're losing a bit of light, but it sounds like James is back with the cubs. Quickly cross over to him and see what they were up to.
We're very briefly here, everybody. Just came to see if they were still here. One of them is. I don't know where the other one is. I think that they probably gone down the tree. They don't have to stay in the tree. We're not going to be here for more than probably another 2 minutes. It's getting dark now, so we're going to move away, just in case our presence here makes them upset or perhaps attracts the attentions of a hyena. So we'll just sit here for a little while. I just want to quickly see if I can spot the other one. I think that's George. I don't think he's moved at all since we last saw him. But I can't see little Charlotte anywhere. She may well be on the ground. And she would, I mean, she'll range a bit. She will go to different trees around here. She may have even crossed the road behind us somewhere. And then what we're going to do is turn around and go back along this road and just see if Karula isn't coming this way. We move back a little. Just give us a slightly different perspective on things. I'm just going to check a termite mound behind us, because I know that Charlotte likes a termite mound. And Brother George there likes to be in the trees. Hello, Pallavi. Nice to have you with us. I'm not sure if I've spoken to you before. I think I have once. You say, when do the leopards leave their mothers? Well, the daughters, like our human daughters, go independent much more quickly than the males. They all go independent from about 8 months. That's very early, though. But there are records of leopards going independent at 8 months. And then the males normally sort of around a year to 18 months is when they start. But 18 months is more normal for the males. I'm just easing back here, rolling, just to see if we can't spot where little Charlotte has gone. There's a termite mound behind us that I'm looking at. I'm just looking into the tree there. I don't see her. Okay, everyone, that's going to be it for the little cubbies today. We had a wonderful time with them. Very nice just to have a quick catch-up with them, and we'll now carry on back the way, back sort of towards Dam, and just see those baboons that were calling weren't shouting at their mother. I suspect Charlotte is in here somewhere. And HK, you want to know if leopards are successful hunters. Absolutely, they're successful hunters, HK. They wouldn't survive otherwise. They probably kill about only maybe 3 out of 10 times that they chase. But that's pretty good. That's not a bad return. They're not quite as successful energetically as, say, wild dogs, which, although they do miss a lot, they do eat more per chase, for example, than most of the other animals. They seem to have hit a tree. Anyway, but yes, absolutely very successful. And you know, they're the most widely distributed of the big cats these days, and that's because they will eat just about anything. They'll eat anything from termites up to lizards. They'll eat fish and frogs. They'll eat duiker and steenbok and impala, and up to sometimes very small giraffe they will eat. And I mean, there's a record in this area of an enormous male leopard called the Anderson male pulling a giraffe up into a tree, a dead giraffe, but he killed a small giraffe and then pulled it into a tree. So unbelievable strength there. All right, let's go back to Byron, who seems to have left the flat cats. I don't know where those other cats have gone, where the other two males and the other females are. Anyway, let's go get a catch-up with Byron. We'll just do a quick check here to see if we can find Karula.
Oh, the temperature's just dropped quite a bit. So we left that lioness. She was resting really nicely there, and she didn't look like she was going to move anytime soon. No sign of the males that were with her this morning. It's very strange. I think possibly they've just moved into the thicket and lying down in the shade somewhere. I don't think they would have gone too far. Maybe they went to go have a look for some water to drink and then moved into a thicket close by, waiting, and later this evening could possibly join her again. But what we are going to do is now start making our way back towards Djuma and just see what we find along the way. We've had such a great afternoon, and as I said, the temperature's dropping now, and as soon as the sun goes down, it starts cooling down quite a bit. I'm so glad James got to see those cubs again and show you those cubs. Really, we are really lucky, or have been lucky, with the leopard sightings that we've had for the past 2 days. It's incredible to see a leopard with cubs. Very, very lucky. As I said earlier, I think James has had so much luck today. I might go rub his head or something later. Maybe he's got a lucky charm that I don't know about. So Roger from Tampa has asked us a question about the cheetah, and have the cheetah in the area been successful in raising cubs? Roger, I'm sorry, I'm not too sure. And the reason is, I've only been in this area for a short space of time, for the last week. But from what I understand and what I've heard from the other guys, there's not a lot of cheetah around. Now, cheetah have to compete, or not really compete, but they've got to be aware of a lot of other predators. So if there's a lot of hyena, a lot of lion, a lot of leopard activity, the cheetah population generally isn't very good because they don't like so much competition, so they'll move off into other areas. I'm not too sure if they've had cheetah cubs in the area recently. Those two males have been around a lot. I know they have been seeing them. But maybe James can answer that a little bit later when you get back to him. Maybe he can tell you more about the cheetah that they've seen in the area for the past year or two. Generally, if it's very open and the clearings are around, the cheetah do well. And I've just heard from Kirsten that they've hardly seen any cheetah around here. So, but again, I think that is because of the high predator population. There's a lot of lion, there's a lot of leopard, a lot of hyena, and that will generally cause cheetah to move off into other areas. So it's not easy for a cheetah. They're very low on the predator hierarchy. They don't do very well against competition because other predators will come in and chase them off a kill almost immediately, very, very easily. They're generally shy animals. They don't like confrontation, so they'll move away from an area if there's other predators around. So as far as I know, there haven't been a lot of cheetah cubs around, but But in Kruger does still have a good and healthy cheetah population. And those cheetah, often what happens is they'll move out and they'll try and find new territories. I'm just trying to work out where I am. Because I'm on Cheetah Plains. It's a new area for me. Well, the whole of Juma is actually. But I think I know where I am now. I did drive here the other day. So I've always got to keep a lookout for where you are and where you're going. Could be a cold night out here if we get lost. I know James was in search of Karula. I don't know if he managed to find her yet. Why don't you head back to him and get an update and see what he's up to?
We haven't, everybody. We've tried so very hard, haven't we, Brian? So very hard, but we've been unsuccessful. What we're going to do is go across the damn wall. Bah! Bahu! Bahu! Anyway, that's what the baboons were doing. So we're going to head to where they were doing that and see if they weren't going Bahu at Karula. Brian, would you like to try the baboon alarm calls? Here they are. The baboons have arrived. There we go. They're obviously not going a bahu at the moment if they're on the ground. Let's see if we can view them from the damn wall. Baboons are enormous fun to watch. There are whole impalas having their drink now after the elephants chased them away. Kirsten says they are visible from the damn cam. Kirsten, where? Oh, there they are. Now they're going into the camp. Naughty things. There, look at the mother there with the baby on her back. Two mothers with their babies. I'm afraid we can't get any closer than this, everyone. As you can see, they will now start to seek out. You see, as it gets drier and the big trees start to lose their leaves and food becomes more and more difficult to find, baboons start to come into these camps, and you've got to really lock things away, otherwise they become overexcited by the existence of food, and then they can be a little bit of trouble. They are incredibly powerful. They also apparently don't feel electric fences. Or they just take the hit. I think they just take the hit half the time. Or they learn very quickly. That's quite interesting. You can see that one is... it's not on the fence. It looked like it was on the fence. It's actually just climbed that branch. That was the fence. Now, of course, if you remember your physics from school, you'll know that unless you're connected to the ground, you won't be hit. So I think if you jump onto the fence, you should be okay. Right, we're going to go across to the dam cam view now. Thank you, Zumi, whoever you happen to be, wherever you happen to be in the world. Thank you for the time that you give us. The Zumis, everybody, are the people who control the dam cam, and they do a great job. There you can see the baboon and her baby. And you Brian, that view there, you can see the Vuyatela camp deck. Two baboons just went around the corner there. I suspect quite strongly. There we go. There we are. They're going to be looking in the window to see what mischief they can perform. They're like little gangs of burglars. Watch this. It knows it's doing no good. See it looking around to see if anyone's watching. We can see you. And you. Now, what they're doing down there. It's classic. Oh, onto the, what is that, the geyser or something. Oh, over the fence. It's like a raiding party going in. James Richard, nice one. Do baboons ever interact or bully vervet monkeys? Absolutely. They'll eat vervet monkeys if they can get hold of them. So vervet monkeys will avoid very carefully baboons. They are, I can't tell you how powerful they are. It's almost inconceivable when you think of it. And the analogy I always use is that of a pull-up. Now, many human beings can do a pull-up. On a pull-up, for those of you who don't know, is you hold on to a bar and pull yourself up, pull your chin over. Sometimes you call them chin-ups. Most men will be able to do a chin-up. Many women are able to do a chin-up. Very few men can do 20 chin-ups in a row. Very few women can do 20 chin-ups in a row. Almost no one in the world can do a one-arm... Look at it looking in the window there. Almost no one can do a one-armed pull-up. To be able to pull your own body weight up on one arm is incredible. A baboon will do probably 40 one-armed pull-ups without breaking a sweat. So their strength is quite astonishing. There we go, just sitting sentinel on the roof there. Yeah, this looks like a good spot for the night. No spiky thorns sticking in my bottom. I might just stay right here. You get a nasty shock when the guests come back there. Of course, not nearly as nasty as the shock the guests are going to get when they get back there and find 74 baboons enjoying their deck and the tree just next to it. And baboons can sometimes get quite cheeky in these camps, and you see that the one looking in the window there. You sometimes find guests sort of pinioned into their rooms under siege, with baboons knocking on the window trying to get inside because they've lost their fear of human beings. Laura, you want to know if these baboons would go for the leopard cubs. If they found those leopard cubs, the leopard cubs would be in trouble. Absolutely. They don't want anything to do with predators, these baboons, and certainly a leopard, female leopard like Karula wouldn't go anywhere near a troop like this unless they were on the ground like that and really spread out, because the male baboons will take a leopard out and they'll chase a leopard. Even if she catches a small one, she'd have to kill it and leave it almost, and then run off and hopefully come back and fetch it, because she'd be chased off by the big male baboons. That was a very cross elephant behind us. Let's head along here and just do a little turn down Central Road, see if we can't pick up on that genet we had the other night, and perhaps Karula's coming back this way. HK, baboons are not endangered as a species, no, but in certain tourism circles they're endangered because people shoot them, because they become such an absolute menace. But they're absolutely not endangered, no. They're very healthy populations, fascinating animals, and if they don't lose their fear of human beings, they're perfectly safe to be around. They're wonderful creatures. And there's a baboon sanctuary not too far from here, up near Palaboa, and I went there once, and it was hilarious to watch these semi-domesticated baboons, because they're a raiding party, basically. And so this rehab centre that was full of volunteers had to stay out. They had to lock absolutely everything away, or the baboons would come inside and pinch everything. But they can also be, I mean, if you keep them from young, they're not aggressive at all. Cats in Tampa, absolutely they can open doors. You want to know if they can open doors? Yep, they can. And, I mean, there was a stage, Brent tells the story really nicely, of a time when at Singita Labombo they made the rooms out of glass. And they closed the doors with these magnets that you slid a key card through and the magnet released. And they put the braking power, the braking or the pull pressure of those magnets at about 600 pounds. Now that's just under 200, just over 200 kilograms. And the baboons used to walk up to the door, pull it just slightly off the magnet. They were strong enough to do that, and then let it go. And the glass would then shatter into 100 pieces, and the baboons would walk in and have a field day. But I know at Londolozi, they learned how to open doors. I mean, you can teach a dog to open a door. They're much more intelligent than dogs are, so they can open doors. I don't think they can use a key. They certainly learned how to pull bolts across. So one of the things they did at Londolozi was to put bolts into the doors, and they learned to pull those. Then they put bolts with screws on them, so you had to unscrew them and then pull the bolt across. They figured that out as well. So they really are very clever indeed. You can see they've worked out how to get over that fence without getting zapped. Because there's quite a strong electric charge going to that fence. I was hit by it once. An extremely foul language came out of my mouth when it happened. We were moving all of our stuff down to our new storeroom. And I said to Eugene, there's a little scrub here. I didn't say there's a little scrub here to Eugene. I'm just saying that to you. There is a little scrub here. See how beautifully hidden he is? We'll call this scrub hair Eugene. I'll continue my story once Eugene's moved off. See that very flat tail? He thinks we can't see him, you see. He's convinced of his own cryptic coloration. Don't move, Bunny, I can see you. And Karula ain't too far from here. Now it's a bird roughly this, not a bird, a mammal roughly this size that Karula's babies will first kill. But that will probably be in a little while. They're very fast, these hares. Really impressive ears. I mean, they really are amazing. That nice huge eye to gather as much light as possible for the night time. That cryptic coloration means they don't go into burrows. Probably spent the day actually underneath this sort of Ziziphus bush behind which you can see him. And look as we zoom out how almost impossible he is to see. Isn't that amazing? Wonder how many of them we drive past during the day. Cool. Alrighty, on we go. So what happened was we were taking our stuff down to the storeroom. I said to Eugene, I said, is this fence live? No, he says, it's not live at all. So as I was handing a piece of equipment over the fence, I sort of pushed my leg against it. At which point, a very severe electric charge jolted through my body and left a small burn on my leg. The language that came out of my mouth and the volume at which it came out of my mouth was, well, it startled even me. So I had to apologize to everybody for being so foul-mouthed. I then made sure Eugene didn't get supper for the next 3 weeks. He thought it was very funny. All right, Byron's back on Juma. Let's go and find out where he is.
I've just got back onto Juma, so we are cruising around. I've got this spotlight. I'm looking for any nocturnal wildlife. Maybe we find a bush baby. I haven't had luck finding a bush baby yet. And James found one the other day, so I really would like to find one. Can't believe he's telling you about him being electrocuted. That actually makes a lot of sense. It explains a lot. No, I have also been electrocuted before from these fences around lodges. You occasionally don't see it, or you think it's not on, and the only way to test is if you touch it. It does give you a little bit of a kick. I'm sure James did say a lot of swear words when he was electrocuted. The blasphemy echoed through the valley, I'm sure. scanning the trees for owls, anything that we might find at night. Another vehicle coming. Let's put some of our bright lights off so we don't blind them completely. Just move off to the side here quickly. It's easier for us. We're in a Land Rover. We can go anywhere. Beautiful evening. Just have a look at that color in the sky at the moment. Very, very beautiful. We've been so lucky. The last few days have been incredible. Great temperature. The days have been warm. And just this incredible color in the sky after sunset. Almost a orange, pink, purple, blue. There are a lot of different colors. Yellow. The one great thing about it being winter is because there is a lot of dust in the sky at the moment. When the sun does go down, you do see these colors a lot more. They become a lot more vibrant because the light moves through the dust, and then you get beautiful sunsets and beautiful scenes like this. Another tough day in Africa, hey David?
Yeah.
So a listener has asked me, what is my favorite thing to photograph? Sure, that's difficult, Alyssa. I'm not sure. I do enjoy landscape photographs, but wildlife in general is probably my favorite. You know what recently I've been working on a little bit and trying to get right is photographing birds in flight. So if a bird takes off from a tree, you get that beautiful wingspan, and that's not always easy, but at the moment I'm really enjoying that and trying to work on that a lot. But yeah, it's hard to pick a specific thing. Just wildlife in general, I suppose. Listen, I'm not too sure if you have seen, I like sharing my photographs with guests and let them view, and often, especially after trips, we go through photographs, great sightings that we might have had. And I put a lot of my photographs on my Facebook page. A lot of people just do want to follow and see them, and it's Africa Revealed just on Facebook. And if you'd like, you're more than welcome to go and have a look at some of those images. And it's sunsets, everything from birds and animals, leopards, lions, elephant. What was that? I think it was just an antelope. Hang on a second. Just have a look here. Can you see it looks like a little steenbok? I'm just going to try and look with the binoculars. Yeah, it is indeed. Small antelope. Don't want to shine on them too much. Their eyes are quite sensitive to the bright lights, but I just wanted to check that it wasn't something else. I just caught a glint in the eye. Driven back onto Djuma completely now. We were on the main road there for a second, or for a few minutes. While I search this area, let's go find out if James has managed to electrocute himself again.
I have not managed to electrocute myself. It wouldn't surprise me were Wendy to electrocute me. Firstly, given the abuse that I've given her, and secondly, given her well, sort of slightly unreliable age. Wium very sardonically and morosely confessed to me today as we were driving along back from Cheetah Plains. He said, this car is going to short us soon. So I said, what do you mean this car is going to short us soon? He said, there is a bent wire back here, which basically means that I could very soon light up like a bulb. So if that does happen, well, then you know that I've been electrocuted again, and I'm going to ask Kirsten to cut away immediately, because if the language that came out of me last time was to go out on live air, I don't think I'd recover from it. It would be very shocking, as Kirsten says, yes. Right, we've come down to the valley of the Great Mulwati again. Brian, can you hear that?
I can.
What can you hear, Brian?
The raging torrents.
The raging torrent. Here we go again. Everybody, I hope you've got your waterproofs on. Take a deep breath. Ah! Whoosh! 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 See how it jumps up and down, rolls and turns in the waves. Whoosh! 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 We made it.
Whew, what a rush again.
What a rush, hey? It's like whitewater rafting below the Victoria Falls. And we're back to looking for some chameleons and perhaps a bush baby. And perhaps Karula. Kirsten is very upset. She says we're not normal. Of course, I have news for her. If she thinks anyone in this camp, her included, is normal, then she is barking up the wrong tree. Never before have I met such a hodgepodge of eccentricity in one place. And if you can, Rebecca wrote a blog recently about a cake she made. The cake I thought was quite nice, everyone else thought was disgusting. But it was a sugar-free, carb-free cake, so what many describe as a fun-free cake, but she describes how these unlikely ingredients have been mixed together into something quite special, and she likens that to our little camp. So if you can, check her out, check out her blog. I'm not sure where you'll find it. But Rebecca Christensen is her name, and you might come across her blog about the almond flour cake and the hodgepodge of lunacy that exists at the Democratic Republic of the Congo, which is the camp in which we live. Brian, who is the chief loon, do you think?
You're quite a strong contender.
I think that's not really fair. I'm going to go with... I think Andrew was chief loon when he was with us. Don't you agree?
Yes, he was.
Andrew was an impressive loon. Hello, Pallavi. Nice question from you about the camera person. And you are obviously a new viewer. The best way for us to show you where the camera person sits, of course, would be to find Byron and show you how his camera person's sitting. You want to know if the camera person stands the whole time? No, were Brian to stand, especially at 6'4", he'd bash his head on just about every tree we went past. No, they're sitting on a sort of bench, and the bench has 3 sides on it, so they can move around, and then the camera sits on a sort of central console in the middle. And well, I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll show you what he looks like. Watch this, everybody. I'm going to use technology. Yes, 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 I'm going to try and use technology. I can hear Byron blethering away from not far away. So, there's Brian Pallavi. There he is. You can see you need to zoom in a bit there. There he is. That's right. Brian there.
Oh, yeah.
Let me get rid of those things. There he is. Okay, and he's sitting down, and there is his little benchy that he slides around on. There's me. Hello, everybody. And, of course, there's Brian. Marvellous. Byron, I can hear, is going up the road just behind us, so that's a good thing. He might bump into Karula there. We'll go around here, and we'll probably meet up with him on quarantine clearings. Chief lunatic. Right, let's go across to the newest lunatic at the asylum, Mr. Byron, Southern Sorrow.
A lunatic, eh, James? Oh dear, not quite, but maybe. I suppose you have to be a little bit crazy to do this drive through the bush all day. We have had no luck finding any nocturnal wildlife, but I'm not giving up just yet. It's too soon to panic. We've seen so much. Just try to turn these radios down. I've got a few voices in my head at the moment again. We've seen so much already this afternoon. It's been great, but it would be wonderful to end off with a little bush baby or a genet or even a civet. That would be first prize. These drainage lines, these thicker areas are great for these animals, especially the bush babies jumping from tree to tree. David and I were laughing earlier. My multitasking needs a lot of practice, but I'm getting better at it. The driving, the spotlighting, talking to everybody. I'm used to just talking to everybody and driving, not really managing the spotlights as well. A little sad though, because this is my last afternoon and evening drive with all of you. Well, for now, I will definitely be back. But it's been so much fun, and it's been great getting to chat to everybody and getting all the questions. And tomorrow morning will be my last drive just for this stint. And then I'm off to guide guests down at Londolozi, which will be fun. Always nice to guide around that area too, very different. James Dungerman has asked what my favourite place to take guests are. James, it's a tricky question. I mean, the safari in Africa, anywhere is great. You know, you're always going to find something different, something interesting and something fun. Botswana is a wonderful place to go to. You know, it's very different. You get a lot more water around there, depending on the time of year you go. But you can get a lot of hippo, elephant, a lot of animals moving through water because of the delta. I spotted something up ahead. Not sure if that is a vehicle or if it's a vehicle. Bush baby! Bush baby! There we go! Do you see that? Oh, come on! Bush baby! Did you see it? Wait, let's see where it's gone. Got to see a bush baby. Thought I saw another one up ahead. Just hang on, where did this one go? They are so agile. So very, very quick. Hope you all got to see it. Just quickly jumping across the road there. And now it has disappeared. But wait, I'm sure there are one or two others around here. Come on. But we've got to see one. I'm happy. That's great. Now I can go back and brag to James and say, I also found a bush baby. So James, getting back to your question, every area is different, and it's always wonderful to be able to take guests on a safari for 10 or 12 days where you go to different places, because we are likely to see different animals in different areas. Londolozi for me is really great because I've guided there before, I know the area. But again, it all depends. It's wonderful to go in search in different places, different areas. Anyway, I'm going to say good night to you. Thank you to David for helping me this afternoon on the camera. and the ladies in the FC and in my head. We'll see you all tomorrow morning. Good night, and off to James to say good night.
Lay down a beat, Brian. We just saw a bronze-winged courser, everybody. That was its call, but it's gone now. Anyway, I think that was quite good, Brian. Well done, very nice. Where's my spotlight? I've lost it. Did it go in here, or did it fly? Did it fly? No, it flied away. Right, let's go up onto quarantine clearings and see what there is there. The last few minutes, no luck with Karula. She might, like I say, spend the night away. She may just pop across the road as opposed to walk along it. She may be with the cubs now as we speak. Who knows? We'll check again in the morning, and indeed in the afternoon after that. And for the foreseeable future, every afternoon and every morning from then on. Not so, Brian?
Yeah, true.
Exactly. Very good. We have 2 birthdays this week, everybody. Kirsten McLennan-Smith is turning 18, I think, this year. And Rebecca Christensen, she of the almond cake, is turning... What is she turning, Brian? 51. 51. Right. So Rebecca's turning 51 and Kirsten is, I think, 18 this year. I'm, of course, being completely ridiculous. Kirsten is going to be 26 and Rebecca will be 31. I shouldn't have told you that because they're ladies. And apparently you're not allowed to say that about ladies. So my mummy always said. She'll be so disappointed with me if she's watching. I hope she isn't. Beautiful sky we've had today. Really spectacular. And again, filled with dust. Or maybe just from the wind. I thought initially it was smoke, but I think perhaps it's just dust. I always love the August time, especially when the smell of the fires comes, of the fires in the old grasslands. Not going to be many this year because there's no grass. But it's always meant to me the herald of the end of winter. So there were some impala lurking about on quarantine clearings, but they seem to have been the only things that have come up here to look out for predators. This, by the way, Byron went on about the running. This was the road that we were running on today. You may see our footprints. Byron's closer together and very heavy, of course. He was very tired at the end. And thank you all for your very kind comments saying you've had a wonderful drive. I must say, I'm going to be very sad when old Byron leaves us at the end of tomorrow. He's got to go off to Londolozi to guide for a month. And I'm hope very soon that we'll have him back for a little while. He does run his own company, so it's not like he can just sort of up sticks and come here, unfortunately. But it's been a great joy to have him along. What is that? It is an impala. Oh well. Right, everybody, that is going to be pretty much it from us today. I'm going to stop here, and so that I might greet you with politeness. Today I did a rolling stop or rolling end during the show, and I felt it was slightly impolite. So a big thank you to all of you for coming along on the drive. It's so lovely to talk to you and have our conversations. It's just the most perfect way to spend an afternoon. Thank you, Brian, for your big efforts. Thank you, Kirsten. Thank you, Byron. Thank you, Chelsea Byrne. We'll see you all tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the morning. Bye-bye.